Good morning. It's Saturday morning. It's weigh-in day. Yeah, weigh-in day. The coolest thing happened yesterday. So we'll start with a Luca potty training update. But the coolest thing. So in order to make this whole potty training experience work more efficiently, it's like a reward-based thing. So every successful time they get up on the toilet and they go into the litter box on top of the toilet, every time they do that, you have to reward them, congratulate them, heavy on the vocal congratulations and the petting, and you give treats and all this other stuff, right? You make a big deal out of it. And so when I was training my first cat, Enzo, to use the toilet, he understood that with going to the bathroom kept coming a reward afterwards, right? So he had this thing that he would do where he would go crazy excited and run all over the house. And it got to the point where we're like, just go to the bathroom. Just go to the bathroom. Because he knew he was getting a treat. So he'd be really, really excited to get the treat. And he'd be darting all over the house and jumping on things. And he would do this crazy dance, right? And we were talking about it, and we're thinking like, oh, what will Luca do, right? Will Luca have this same ritual where he starts to go crazy before he goes to the bathroom because he knows he's getting a treat? And then yesterday I'm sitting there at my desk in my office, and I'm working or whatever, and he comes over to me, he's meowing, and he kind of like puts his paws on my thigh, and like he's standing on his back legs, right? Puts on his paws on my pie, he's standing on my thigh, and he's standing on his back legs, and then he reaches for the armrest, and he grabs my arm, and he starts trying to, like, he's using his nails, and he starts trying to pull me gently, like, come with me. And I was just like, what are you doing? And then he just starts walking away down the hall, but I see he's walking toward, my bedroom where the bathroom is, whatever. And I thought to myself, wait, is this his way of telling me it's time to give me a treat, Is this his way? And so I decided to follow him. And he led me right to the bathroom, where he went to the bathroom, and it was clear that he went. And so I was like, good boy. And I'm like, congratulating him. And I clean up the mess or whatever, and then I give him his treat, and he's all excited that he's getting his treats. But it's so funny that he came to get me, and he's grabbing my arm and pulling it, and it's just, I was like, that's different. But it was funny. I thought that was good. Anyway, it's been a pretty good week. It's been a busy week, man. Busy week. And next week is not looking any less busy for work and everything else. And it was, we'll see what happens on the scale, and we'll keep going. I think there might be a game this week, and I had a few moments where I was extra hungry and ate a little more than I usually do. So I'm thinking because of that, there'll be a game. And it is what it is, there's gains and losses in life, right? Sometimes you make a mess. Sometimes you spend life making a mess. Sometimes you spend life cleaning a mess. And sometimes you spend life enjoying, right? Like you're just, maybe making the mess is enjoying. And it makes me think of a story when I was a kid, right? So me and my friend Ray and a couple others, people there, right? Probably 5 or 6 of us. He comes over and he's got a new toy, right? And my friend Ray, he's always good at bringing toys over, right? But anyway, he's got these new toys and he's bringing them over. Good morning. He's got these toys and he brings them over and he shows them to us. And they're called airsoft guns, right? So it's like a BB gun, except the bullets are made of little plastic balls, right? And he's showing them to us, and I think they're battery powered. It's not like a traditional BB gun that has like the CO2 cartridges or whatever, or pump action. He's showing them to us, right? So we're like, oh, these are pretty cool, right? And he's thinking that he's gonna make some, because he was always into, creating content before there was content creation, right? When you needed a home camcorder to make content, that's what we were into. We created this little show called Two Goombas on the Black Couch, right? where oh man, those tapes better be buried somewhere. But the Two Goombas on the Black Couch were very vulgar Italians that only talked about whatever pissed them off. But anyway, he was like thinking about making some content where, it's like an action scene or they're shooting guns or whatever, and they're these airsoft guns. And so I was like, I wonder if it hurts getting hit by one. And so then he's like, I don't know, he's just sitting there, right? So then I kind of, without him knowing, I aim the gun at his thigh and I shoot it. And he flinches. He's like, ah! And you hear me laughing because no one got seriously hurt, right? No one got seriously hurt. And when I looked at him, I'm like, does it hurt? Does it hurt? And at that moment, he was like, you know what? It doesn't hurt that bad. It's like, little less than a bee sting. Immediately, in that moment, all of whoever was in that room holding one of these guns, immediately we all took off out of this room and we're hiding around the house and we're shooting at each other, and it was like an all-out war inside my house. And it was pure mayhem. And at this point, I mean, we're pretty much out of high school, and we're young adults at this point, right? But we're still very much kids in that sense. We're all going crazy, and it's like, in our minds, we're in some, Bruce Willis action movie. We're in Die Hard, and we're all shooting at each other, and we're all going nuts. And by the grace of God, not a single thing is broken, right? By the grace of God. And at the very end, my mother comes home from wherever she was, and all she sees is brightly fluorescent colored, tiny little plastic balls. Pink, green, blue. Good morning. Pink, green, blue. There were other colors too. Orange. They were all over the house. All over the house. And she flipped out. What is this mess? And the big thing, we're like, we're sitting here having all this fun and having the best time. And none of us ever thought about cleanup when this all started. None of us ever, you don't think about the movie action scenes where bullet shells are flying all over the place. You don't think about the guy at the end of filming who has to clean all that up, right? Because all of those shells that are flying all over the place, they have to be cleaned up. And maybe Bruce Willis doesn't have to do that part, right? But somebody else named like Joe or something, or Frank, he's got to do it. Right? And so here we go, we start cleaning up. And I say all that to you to say this. So sometimes you're creating a mess, right? Sometimes you're having fun and you're doing things and it's a little out of your control. You're at a situation where maybe, you're at a party, maybe you're at a wedding, maybe, there's these events in life, and it comes with unexpected eating, or whatever. And maybe that unexpected or that one event leads to a bunch of extra eating for the next week or the few days after that, right? And you're sitting there on weigh-in day and you're thinking, man, I really messed up this week. This is not the time. This is not a time where you say, oh, you're so stupid. Like, do you think any single one of us kids, after the action movie that went on in all of our minds, after that living the Die Hard movie scene where everybody's just shooting, right? And it's like the final end scene of the movie. After you just lived that in your own mind, do you think anybody is saying, I shouldn't have done that? I shouldn't have sat there and shot my friend Ray in the thigh and discovered that it didn't hurt so bad? You think any one of us is regretting that? No, we're just cleaning it up and thinking how much of a blast it was. So, if you're finding yourself in this summertime, right, where there's all of this extra eating going on, right, because you guys are at the beach, you guys are at the barbecues, you guys are you're at the World Cup, and you're all of these extra calories are being consumed. Don't sit here and beat yourself up on weigh-in day thinking that you shouldn't have done that. You shouldn't have done that. Just know that by the grace of God, it'll all go back to normal. By the grace of God, it will all come off. By the grace of God, everything will be gone except the memory. The memory of the wonderful moments you lived out, whatever it was that was all that eating, right? Whatever it was. For me, I'm telling you the story of an action scene that was only happening in our mind, but in reality, it was really just making a big mess in a house, right? But we were making a mess, and it was good. And was it fun cleaning up the mess? No, it wasn't fun cleaning up the mess. Did it take a while? Yes. Listen, years later, we're moving out of this house, and we're still finding the plastic pellets behind furniture that we never found when we were cleaning up, and that happened years before it. We were still finding the mess years later, but we were left with the joy of the memory. So whatever it is, if you're gonna gain today, if you're losing today, great. If you're gaining today, whatever the reason for the gaining, it's not a time to beat yourself up. It's not a time to think what you should have done. Should be another swear word, right? Should be the swear word that ruins every good thing, right? There's a couple of 4-letter swear words that everybody thinks are really bad, but they aren't as bad as should. They don't do as much damage as should. And if we stopped using that phrase, what I should have done, we could probably live a life of more grace. And really, that's what it's about. Because your ability to get past what didn't go your way, to get past the mess, to get past the cleanup, your ability to get past all of that and not dwell on what you did to get there, that is going to be what separates you from, until you do that, that's going to be what separates you from the joy that is the memory in the first place. Because if I could have looked at that same story I just told you, I could have looked at that same story and said, oh, the mess, I can't believe we had to spend this many hours cleaning, and how many years later we're still finding the pellets all over the house as we're moving out. I could have told it that way, from a negative perspective. But instead I told you with this feeling of joy, because that's what it comes from. What's left after all the mess is the joy of the occasion. And And what's left after you cleaning up your mess is the joy of being at your goal. So wherever you're at today, if you're stepping on the scale and you don't like it, just know you're cleaning up the mess. And one day, you're going to be left with the joy. By the grace of God. Whatever you're doing today, enjoy yourself. I love each and every one of you. God bless you all.